I understand that the curse consumed all the city's inhabitants, and they have very little time because it is now necessary to save them from it. Soon, Alka also realized that many people were suffering because of his mistakes, and he must save each of them, as it was time for him to start saving the celestial goodness by using his special abilities. Soon, there was a request to use his special abilities, which were quickly activated from the heavenly armor as the new abilities were ready to use. Meanwhile, the man was fully able to face the monsters on the other side, but then the men suddenly turned, looked at the city, thought for a moment, and said that the monsters were not wasting time uselessly, and Alka was already running through all the streets using my abilities to heal the curse from everyone he met. The girl only had time to approach the injured residents, ask if they were okay, and realize that all traces of the curse had disappeared. She thought it was all very surprising, but also said that the number of victims of the curse was too high, and at this rate, no matter how hard Alka tried, he would not be able to save everyone from the curse, and the disaster would remain inevitable. However, Alka fully understood that it was not enough because he could only handle a small portion of the curse. So, he immediately asked the Abyssal Armor if there was a way to increase the radius of the Celestial Blessing abilities. Therefore, a request was sent, and while Alka continued to save people, he carried out the entire quest of choice of answers, and at some point, he found the opportunity to answer that question as he was advised to use the ability to expand the territory because this ability could also be acquired at the owner's level. And this ability itself was not very useful but could enhance the effects of the special abilities. Therefore, he immediately looked at the Seraphim Wings ability, categorized as Holy Magic, a highly blessed ability. By using this ability, Holy Magic was applied to the owner's weapon, capable of cleansing the territory of the curse. Also, if he wanted to use this ability, he had to say the command. Only then would the special ability of the Seraphim Wings be activated, and the effect would be applied to his weapon. Thus, Alka immediately summoned the Holy Sword to request the Seraphim Wings ability. Then a blue orb appeared in Alka's hands, the sacred magic wings of the Seraphim. He also quickly made a request to use the ability to cleanse the entire city of the curse, and soon the golden sanctity began to cover the whole city, targeting everyone, and at some point, the golden light fully covered the entire city, destroying the entire curse from the area. When the girl ran toward Alka, she couldn't believe what she saw because it was holy magic. Well, the girl asked Alka if he was really just an adventurer or a saint, and Alka turned and said that it was nothing. But on the other hand, to save the city's inhabitants, he would do everything possible. Unfortunately, he was usually an adventurer. But then Alka spoke to the person, saying they needed to talk to him, but the person still didn't understand what was being discussed, and Alka also said he was somewhat exaggerating. After all, he wanted to save the city's inhabitants, but he completely forgot that he was hiding his power from everyone, and if everyone knew he saved the city, adventurers from the disaster rank would come here. And the person understood what was being discussed, then began to think, but suddenly an idea popped into his head. The girls asked the young men if they needed anything, and the person suggested blaming all of Alka's heroic actions on this girl. Everyone in the city stood up and rejoiced because everything ended well. But as soon as the door opened, a girl started to enter, and everyone who saw the scene was very surprised. Also starting to say that the lady saved the city from a terrible curse, she was their divine heroine, and all the residents owed her their lives. After some time, at the Adventurers Guild headquarters, the girl rose from the table and approached Alka. The hero, Mina, recounted everything about the incident, because she spoke from the perspective that she was protecting the city from monsters, and he was saving the residents from the curse with the help of his magic. Alka immediately thanked the girl, thinking that in the end, he did not become the sole hero who saved the city's inhabitants from the bed curse. Instead, Ayn gave him a very good idea to attribute all the day's achievements to the girl because she was one of the strongest wizards and it wouldn't seem too suspicious. Alright, the girl also said that the only thing left was to write a detailed report about the incident, and she would help him with that. So, he didn't need to worry about it. Alka apologized for burdening her with all of this, but the girl said there was no need to thank her because he had saved them all from that horror, and she believed that this was a way to repay his service for saving the residents, because from now on, he could rely on her help at any time. Ayn also didn't miss these words about the fact that the girl said any help because he thought it was amazing. Speaking of that, it seemed there were more people in the guild because of the story about the heroine who saved the city, but the girl quickly got angry and told him to stop calling her that. However, the young man said that all this was natural because she was one of the best mages in the rescue guild. So, the title Divine Heroine who saved the city from the desert curse suited her very well. The most important thing was not to reveal it and trust this lie because the Divine Heroine gave the citizens the confidence that whatever attacked in the future, they would always be under the protection of someone like her since Alka was not suitable for this role at all. Therefore, she must play such a responsible role. However, Alka asked the young man if he was sure it would work, but he immediately replied that of course, because he believed in what he said. Nevertheless, thanks to Alka's incredible abilities, they were able to make the girl a living legend of the city. So, the young man eagerly pulled the girl along and began to guide her. Alka followed him because the young man wanted Alka to transfer his sacred power, but the girl didn't understand why. Alka explained that if they wanted to maintain the status of a divine heroine, they needed to transfer their divinity. However, the girl quickly became worried, wondering how she would transfer the power to become a saint. Alka simply apologized but said it had to be done, assuring her that it wouldn't harm her body, so everything would be fine. However, if the girl didn't want to, he would understand her choice and wouldn't do anything further. Yet, the girl also said she agreed because she had already said they could rely on her. Since the young man had saved her people before her eyes, she now fully trusted his decision. Alka just approached her and asked if she was sure, then thanked her for allowing him to do this. But since she agreed, Alka decided not to stop and immediately began using his Seraphim Wings ability on the girl. She soon appeared before the public, and everyone began calling her a divine heroine. I said they felt how she illuminated them with heat and light, consciously as a true deity. The young man asked Alka not to spin her in the air, and Alka replied that it was too difficult to control and that he hadn't learned to use it yet, and besides, just learned it, seemed to enjoy the whole absurd situation. That would be true, where the young man simply replied that no one knew. However, while looking at the girl, he continued to think that today she stood out too much and needed to be more careful next time. While Alka was pondering this, suddenly a man appeared and asked if he was bothering them. He also looked at Alka and asked him to step aside for a moment because he needed to discuss something, to which Alka asked what they needed to discuss. The man said not to consider him a fool because he knew everything. He knew who the real hero was who saved the city. Alka immediately realized that he truly knew the situation, and the man meanwhile just looked at the picture through the window, feeling happy for the girl. But the man also said they would condemn their methods because he understood that the role of the hero still required someone familiar to most of the city's inhabitants. The man said that one of them was seen by another adventurer fighting with them at the West Gate, as it was not only adventurers participating in this battle due to their guild. I now understood what made him so worried. They couldn't believe that Mr. Jiri wanted to speak with them personally about such a trivial matter. But the man turned around and said that wasn't what he wanted to discuss with them, that he didn't care how many adventurers saw him because he wouldn't reprimand them for the action. The young man also asked what the man wanted to talk about, and the man asked them during the monster attack at the West Gate if they knew what happened at the East Gate. They didn't understand which East Gate he was talking about. However, the man wasn't too surprised that they didn't know what happened at the East Gate, as the incident at the East Gate was quickly kept secret because only adventurers from the Rescue Sword Guild were there. Ein immediately asked what happened there, but the man also said that hordes of monsters gathered at the West Gate, but the same forces also awaited at the East Gate because this attack was carefully planned. Alka immediately worried about the question, asking if the man was injured or at the East Gate, but the man replied no and not to worry because he was there and destroyed all the monsters in time, so no one had time to hurt them. Alka understood how it was expected of the Supreme Adventurer or one of the most famous guilds on the continent. While everyone climbed the West Gate, he didn't waste time and decided to check another way out of the city because without his help they wouldn't be able to face such forces and the monsters would be able to enter the city through the East Gate. After all, they could face all those monsters alone. However, then the man suddenly said that they had a much bigger and more serious problem because the attack was organized from two sides at once. Although at the same time, the monsters couldn't think enough to attack in an organized manner, and there was a good chance that this attack had been organized by someone. Ein immediately thought about it and realized that perhaps it was true because much in this attack didn't agree with the obvious facts, as he had lived in the city for a long time but had never encountered such monsters. He asked other adventurers if they had ever seen similar monsters before. However, they themselves didn't remember ever fighting against such monsters. Alka asked what was unusual about this, to which the young man replied that at least such monsters didn't live in their area. It was hard for him to face such a big monster given its aggressive abilities, and it was also strange that such a monster suddenly appeared near their city. Then, the man added that, in other words, it could be called summoning monsters, because if someone had special abilities or magic, he could have summoned such a monster army. Alka thought that perhaps there was indeed someone who truly wanted to destroy the city, and if someone planned this, they should strengthen their city's defenses. Alka didn't want to discuss it with them the way he wanted, so he formed his guild as quickly as possible and fought alongside the safety sword. Ein also noted that for now they couldn't officially register the guild because they still had to fill out many documents and undergo a lot of bureaucratic work that couldn't be accelerated in any way. The man said he was willing to help them and negotiate with the central administration provided Alka promised him two things. First, to maintain cooperative relations between their guild as founders, and second, to personally assess their military battles to ensure their competence. After thinking for a moment, Alka immediately answered yes, and they had already found the Central Adventurer Guild Council building on the 3rd floor, which was a training place with a pleasant atmosphere. However, the man said that although it was impossible, he allowed them to use any weapons in this training battle because he wanted to see their true strength and demonstrate his power. In battle with real weapons, using skills and a firm attitude towards victory against the enemy is what matters. A moment later, very strong energy radiated from the man, and he simply said that he wanted Alka to prove his abilities. Alka also began to release very strong energy, saying that he understood. Ein immediately announced that the battle would begin after his signal, and in an instant, he shouted that they could start. Then Alka and the man jumped into battle in the arena. The man also said he hoped to survive the battle against his sword, even though at that time Alka was still at the initial level, while the man was at a higher level. Alka understood well that winning this fight would be very difficult because of the significant level difference. Jirai himself was also very aware of this, so his task in this battle was not to defeat the enemy but to show all his abilities. Because if the man wanted to see his true abilities, then Alka would definitely show them. Alka quickly attacked the man, and they fought with swords. However, the man easily managed to knock Alka's sword from his hand. Alka decided to summon the sacred sword, the Seraphim Wing. Seeing this, the man was slightly surprised, but he still managed to throw Alka a bit farther. Even so, Alka managed to stay on his feet and launch a counterattack against the man. Although Alka couldn't hit the man, he still tried to throw his dagger at him. However, the man easily deflected the dagger attack. While the man was focused on defending against the dagger, he suddenly lost sight of Alka because Alka had disappeared. It turned out that Alka was already above him. The man said that despite the significant level difference, he hoped to enjoy this fight. However, suddenly, Alka launched an attack that caused a strong explosion. The man was surprised. Despite the clear level difference, Alka's combat skills as an adventurer had improved. That was the limit of Alka's abilities at that time. He wondered what the man thought about this duel. Suddenly, the man appeared, laughing loudly, and said that if there hadn't been such a significant level difference, he would have been killed by such a direct attack. He acknowledged Alka's combat skills. The man wanted to proceed to the next part of the battle, which was how Alka would defend against the man's direct attack. Alka didn't immediately understand the meaning of the murderous atmosphere, although the man wanted to use it against Alka. It was a legendary ability called Devil's Arrival, where the man said it was a fight to the death. If Alka didn't stop him, his life would end in seconds. Alka realized that the man decided to use that legendary ability. Ein immediately shouted at Alka to be careful because Devil's Arrival was an ability that doubled its user's level in seconds. When Alka heard this, he was very shocked because it meant Lord Grey's level and strength would double. The man himself confirmed that his blood was boiling because it had been a long time since he had fought an adventurer on par with him. This fight was intended to test Alka's abilities, and the man thoroughly enjoyed it. He acknowledged that Alka met all his expectations and even more. After a long time, the demon inside him finally awakened, seeking a worthy opponent, and now nothing could stop him. The man continued to attack Alka with powerful and devastating blows. In one moment, one of the attacks even threw Alka out of the arena. A girl looked up at the sky with the other residents, confused about what was happening inside. The man said that only a few seconds remained, and whether Alka could withstand all the demonic attacks within him. As Alka was thrown, he began to feel his consciousness fading, thinking he had truly lost. The girls also stood in the street, only looking toward Alka and feeling very worried. Meanwhile, Alka had been walking for a few seconds and immediately remembered the guild. He remembered meeting Sir Jirai and the girl, thinking he had already said goodbye. He also remembered that to protect this city and others, he decided to establish his own guild. When he opened his eyes, only a few seconds remained, but the man was already very close. The man realized that his demon rejoiced at fighting a strong opponent. However, all of this would soon end. The man decided to use the demonic black flash attack aimed at Alka. If it hit, it would undoubtedly be fatal. Alka realized and acknowledged that he was still far from reaching his potential because, in this battle, he lost, but he would do everything to survive the explosion. He used his sacred sword because it could explode, and the remaining holy power would protect him from the opponent's attack. The Holy Seraphim Wing commanded it to explode, which indeed happened right before their eyes. The sword exploded and was shielded by Alka's aura, even though at that moment, the human sword was already close to Alka. However, he was still lucky enough to survive. But the attack still left no trace, and Alka took the same hit from the shockwave, which sent him flying in the opposite direction faster than before. Alka flew toward his armor, trying to restore the Rapim sword wing because he still needed the ability to help him acquire another weapon in his hand. The armor said that in this situation, he needed to use level conversion, but his enemy's level was too high, and it was recommended to retreat. Although he understood, he would not run away because he had to fight, and for that, he needed a new sword and armor. 2 epic abilities suitable for him were immediately offered. The first was weapon recovery and rapid weapon repair, which required a level. Alka decided to purchase it, so he discussed weapon recovery and rapid weapon repair, and his request was immediately confirmed. His 2 goals were immediately fulfilled, and while holding both in his hands, he immediately said that he was waiting for the demon to cool its deadly blade. After all, he thought that if he could survive a little longer, he would surely defeat him. However, shortly after that, he fell before the man and lost consciousness. The man only said that now he must rest because only a few seconds had passed, and after some time, Alka suddenly woke up, shouting that he could fight. But then he saw that he was lying in bed inside his guild headquarters. Layla immediately approached Alka and said that she and the others had decided to go buy food for dinner and saw him fall from the tower. Holding Alka's hand, she said they were very scared, asking how he felt. At that moment, Alka began to understand what they were doing there. Then a girl ran over and said she was glad he had woken up because they were so worried about him. After that, they gave him a good scolding. The guild headquarters tower was damaged, asking what they were thinking. Alka heard everything and only said he was sorry for worrying everyone, but he immediately asked if he had passed the test, and the man, with a firm look, replied that he still passed. But Alka wanted to talk to the man when he interrupted and said that before losing consciousness, only a few seconds had passed. Although at the same time, he invested all his skills and determination in those seconds. Strangely enough, he was the first adventurer to survive those seconds and only suffer minor injuries. Alka, after hearing that, was, of course, delighted and immediately approached the knight while saying that it seemed he wanted to say something else to Alka. The man replied that it was true. They said even though it had been a long time since he had fought an equal opponent, he acted very immaturely by using his legendary abilities in their sparring because emotions controlled his mind. He deeply regretted this incident. Ein smiled immediately and said that maybe with Alka they would protect the city, but in a month almost destroyed it, and he felt the need to regret more for what he had done. So he asked him to apologize properly, and the man apologized again. Alka just smiled. But then the man said that he had passed the first part of the test, but once he rested, he had to begin the second part of the test. He had to clear one of the dungeons. The man said that to the east of the city, in the desert, there were underground ruins. Adventurers called this dungeon the Old Wizard's Workshop. Hearing that, the girl was very confused, and Alka, seeing the girl, felt a bit puzzled, and the man continued saying that a powerful wizard used to live in these ruins, but after his death, the place was filled with monsters. Alka immediately felt curious to know what kind of monsters lived there, but the man said it was unknown, and Alka was very surprised by this answer. The girl also said that in recent years from this workshop, unusual magical anomalies had emerged, and due to these anomalies, the monsters became stronger and more aggressive. Many of them heading toward the city were attacked by them, but they never found the origin of this anomaly and only understood that the anomaly originated from the monsters nesting in these ruins. The guild's wizards concluded that these monsters had a higher level than the desert monsters attacking the city, and the man also said that the ruins themselves were dangerous because no adventurer had ever reached its depths. But since Alka passed the first part of the test, he thought he could face this. Anyway, he had to explore the ruins in the Old Wizard's Workshop and destroy the monsters triggering the magical anomalies. The men only asked if Alka accepted this challenge. However, it was then revealed that someone in the middle of a small room was sitting in the middle of a chair. It was the same wizard who heard the conversation between the man and Alka. He immediately said that once again, the kids wanted to enter his room. This made him very angry. They said that the war would destroy anyone who tried to approach him. Meanwhile, the scene shifted to the desert in the east of Durham. Alka came to the place he needed, which was the Old Wizard's Workshop, the entrance to the dungeon of the Old Wizard's Workshop. However, Alka turned and asked if he was sure he wanted to enter with them. Mila said she was 100% sure even though she was a beginner adventurer. Talking about helping Alka in the adventure at the headquarters, she was given a license as a beginner adventurer. Anyway, she knew why he decided to leave his village because Ain had told her everything. Turning around, she just said that Alka was a very kind person, talking about not hurting the villagers. She decided to let him go, but she wanted to become as strong as he was, so she was very eager to travel with him. However, Alka quickly said that the Old Wizard's Workshop would be a very dangerous place for a beginner adventurer. After all, she only had a 10th level, but the girl also quickly started shouting that she had the same 10th level. But Alka said that all this was because I would bother the girl and said that at the headquarters, they knew she had epic abilities, saying that this was very cool because unlike her, she would not level up if she didn't engage in difficult battles. For strength, she was willing to take such a risk, but Alka still said that this was an unreasonable act on her part. The girl smiled, saying that she knew the man always protected her. Alka just said he wouldn't argue anymore and let everything go according to her wishes. Then they got ready to enter the workshop. It was an old wizard's workshop. On the first floor, there was so much magical energy in this dungeon that it was clearly not an ordinary place. The level of magical energy was extremely high. Alka understood that if he encountered a high-level enemy, he wouldn't be able to defeat it easily at his current level. His current level is, and he thought it would be much easier to level up on the way here, but due to the battles with the Void Curse, all the local monsters were just hiding in their places. However, suddenly a monster appeared in front of Alka. It was an iron-level monster, and Alka understood the type of local monster that was present now because this would be perfect for leveling up. The young men also realized that they would weaken the monster and Alka would deliver the final blow. Although the monster tried to attack them, it did not succeed because they dodged. The man told Alka not to worry because they were among the best adventurers in the city and wouldn't have trouble with such an enemy. The girl also started attacking the monster, saying they wouldn't let anyone hurt him. After tearing off its 2 arms, the man shouted to Alka that now was the time to strike. Alka immediately attacked to destroy the robot, but suddenly its head regenerated. Alka was very surprised and quickly realized that the robot had transformed and, at this point, would only destroy him.